help on their side of the border to prevent some of this stuff from happening? Right. How about that root cause?
You know, as the lights go on and off here in this studio,
yeah, that wasn't just me, right?
As the lights literally dim on us here in the studio, we want to make sure we shine the light on other stories as well. We've talked about this, what's going on in higher education. Bari Weiss, who was a former opinion editor at the New York Times, she's left. She's on her own. She's an independent thinker. She has a Substack and a podcast. She obtained some audio from a panel, a lecture at Yale, at the School of Medicine at Yale. And speaking of shining light on something, you have to hear what Dr. Aruna Kalani had to say. Watch this.
I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body, and wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless. With a bounce in my step, like I did the world a favor. White people are out of their minds and they have been for a long time. We're now in a psychological predicament because white people feel that we are bullying them when we bring up race. They feel that we should be thanking them for all that they have done for us. We are asking a demented, violent predator who thinks that they're a saint or a superhero to accept responsibility. It ain't gonna happen. They have 5 holes in their brain.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Guys, I don't know about you guys, but the quote that gets me was after she pulls the trigger in this fantasy that she's having, she said the bounce in her step. I mean, that is psychotic. And this is a psychiatrist. Maybe she should be getting some help right now. It's just demented. I don't understand how she could teach any child right now.
Look, there is no doubt we're looking at an extreme example of a poisonous ideology, but make no mistake, it is a progression on the linear chain of leading people down this psychosis of racism. Racism now cloaked in academia. This right here, this isn't just racism. Let's be clear about what you just heard. You heard genocidal thought from an academic teaching at the highest or speaking at the highest, you know, the highest echelons of academia in the United States of America. At a minimum, she needs help, Lawrence. At maximum, the entire education system of the United States of America needs to be drugged into a therapy session and set straight.
Yeah, you know, I feel like if she said that on a website in the comment section, somebody could flag that to their local police department and she would get a knock on her door. She said that at Yale University.
Right.
Yeah, and I just feel bad. She has so much hate in her.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think the reaction was in that panel? What was the reaction as she was talking to other academics? Was she talking to students? I'd like to know that. Exactly, Carly. Was there head nodding? Did people get up and walk out? I want to know what we're accepting at Yale.
It's unbelievable.
Not just what they're saying, what we're accepting.
And I haven't seen a lot of headlines about this story either.
No.
Yeah. And I don't think Yale has responded to a request for comment. 100%. Maybe now that we're shining a broader light on it, they will. But my goodness, so I just feel bad. She's got so much hate in her heart. That's a sad place to be. All right, we got to turn now to some headlines. We're going to be persuaded by news media and others that the nation is awash with murderous AR-15 assault rifles. The fact, however, do not support this hyperbole, and facts matter. Governor Gavin Newsom is vowing to fight that decision
this morning. So here is another connection between Hunter Biden, a lobbying firm, corrupt officials in Eastern Europe, and at this point, not the Obama administration, but potentially the Clinton administration, should Hillary Clinton have won the 2016 presidential election. So what does it mean? What does it mean about Hunter Biden first, and then let's get to what it means about and for Joe Biden?
Well, as far as Hunter Biden goes, this gives you another nexus of corruption involving Hunter Biden, the firm Burisma that was paying him $50,000 a year, $50,000 a month to do who knows what. Well, we know what. And basically Ukrainian shady affairs. Because this prosecutor that was being pitched for access, it's worth remembering, was the one who took over the Ukrainian investigation of Burisma. And remember that now I have to go to Joe Biden. Joe Biden boasted about having ousted his predecessor, the other prosecutor. So if I may just put it all together, this is such a clear case of collusion of the kind that we spent 4 years collusion between government Russia and the Trump campaign. And it's very infuriating because it turns out that the Obama-Biden kind of Clinton camp were doing precisely what they accused Trump administration of and the team Trump of, which of course never materialized. So I don't understand how the pitchforks aren't out.
Well, and as you point out, by the way, that's the trend. That's the theme of the past 10 years. Those with the most racist intentions are the ones out there yelling racist. Those convincing or accusing others of certain crimes seem to be the ones that are committing them behind the scenes. I'll let you get that alarm while I read you this quote from a 2016 email. This is a former Obama State Department official, George Kent, detailing his meeting with Ukrainian prosecutor. It's called Blue Star Strategies. That's the lobbying firm. Blue Star CEO Tremontano's pitch was that she could gain him access to high levels of the Clinton campaign, and that was appealing to meet the possible next presidential chief of staff. So what, as you laid out, Saurabh, well, is Hunter Biden is at the nexus, as you pointed out, of so much potential governmental influence and interference in Eastern Europe and then here at home. Now, bring Joe Biden back to it, as you said. We know what was potentially happening when Joe Biden was vice president. We know the access that Hunter was peddling. We saw that last week in the New York Post. What does this particular story mean specifically for Joe Biden?
Well, I mean, if you note that this same firm that was pitching a potential replacement prosecutor for the prosecutor that was investigating Burisma, which is the firm that was paying Hunter, so this same firm is also representing or pitching the replacement prosecutor. So look, this raises a lot of questions, and if the flimsy basis for collusion and the quote-unquote Ukraine call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president led to impeachment hearings and 4 years of the Mueller probe, et cetera,
right,
then this should also call for congressional oversight, because the material we have here, combined with the stuff that was suppressed by big tech, by the way, last year,
right,
it just shows you that there's a lot of questions to be answered by Team Biden.
I got to run, but you know firsthand, this is Russian disinformation, Saurabh. You know better than that. It's not call for an investigation. This is collusion with the Russian government. We'll look for the truth. More Fox and Friends next.
Good morning. Back with some quick headlines. President Trump will not be returning to Facebook anytime soon. The platform says the former president will remain suspended for at least 2 years. Facebook says it will reassess the ban in January 2023. And they're not the only big corporation punishing the GOP. Reuters reporting J.P. Morgan Chase will keep its donation freeze on a handful of Republicans who voted to overturn the 2020 election results. The big bank stopped all donations after January 6th. The freeze will reportedly last through next year. Lawrence?
Thanks, Carla. As crime skyrockets in cities across the country, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she has the answers to stop it.
If we want to reduce violent crime, if we want to reduce the number of people in our jails, the answer is to stop building more of them. It's to support communities, not throw them away.
Cherie Murray ran against AOC in 2020 and is now the executive director of Unite the Fight PAC, and she joins me now. Cherie, thanks so much for being on the program today. What's your reaction to AOC's comment, considering the district that she represents is up in crime, and that's a district that you ran for?
Thank you so very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning, Lawrence. And what my thoughts are specifically is we need earmarks for Rikers Island, not for the press conference that she just had with her cohorts. And Rikers Island is located specifically in her district. And I want to make sure that I get my facts right, because I want to be prepared for you guys this morning. Permitting more criminals to roam the streets, produce more crime, releasing criminals from jail, preventing judges from considering a defendant's dangerous past when setting bail. These are all disastrous measures that are stemming from NY14, which is AOC's district. We have disastrous policies that just came out, bail reform. We have anti-cop reform. We're seeing the skyrocketing of crime here in the New York City 5 boroughs. And it's a result of the policies the socialist policies that are being championed by AOC and the likes of Chuck Schumer.
So, Cherie, I got to ask you this question, because I talk to residents of all different political persuasions, And they're all fed up. Democrats and Republicans are fed up with the crime, the violent crimes, that the fact that you can't get on the subway without worrying about a knife attack. There has to be an alternative to that message, right, that voters will buy.
Well, that's the thing. If you go into the district specifically, constituents are not happy with her as their representative. And it's just crazy that she continues to champion these policies that are disconnecting with the community. Crime is on the rise. Businesses are struggling. We need reforms in the district that can help small businesses. We're getting over the pandemic, but we really need a lawmaker that is willing and ready to bring the community